Hi, you guys. I'm sorry I missed you yesterday with the read aloud, but here we go at chapter 48. This one is called Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. I really was cracking up about the last chapter. Remember when Timmy's new teacher kept whacking him on the head with the ball? Anyway, let's see how this goes. He used it for packaging, I tell my business partner. Packaging. It is Saturday, the one day of the week I am allowed to visit Total. He was sending some stupid bowling scores into some league office. Can you believe these idiots even have a league? Anyhow, the lunkhead doesn't want them bent, like they're state secrets or something. So his tiny brain screams, where can I get some cardboard to stiffen the package? And so what does he do? He pulls it off the wall and ships it. I suppose I should back the guy up. The lunkhead we're talking about is this guy, the bowling turkey. And the cardboard we're talking about is this guy, Total Failure Inc. Our corporation's sign, our respected brand, now sitting on some forgotten trash heap in Bowlingsville, USA. And listen to this. The guy mentions the whole thing after the fact. You know how? He says, hey, did you still need that thing in the hall? I say, yes, I needed it. And he says, well, it's gone now. And that's it. No apology, no nothing. I stare over the railing at my business partner. Are you listening to this? Total is staring at Stacy, the female polar bear who shares his enclosure. But the only thing she likes is her beach ball. Pay attention to me, I yell. We've got to do something. We've got to stop this menace. Total walks toward her, but she growls, so he rolls over like he's dead. Forget about the woman, I yell. Focus on the business. We need a plan. Total curls up in a corner of the stone enclosure. Listen, I tell him. I know things look bad right now, but you've got to keep your head up. Corporations go through periods like this. Total blinks. Okay, fine, I tell him. You know what? I was going to save this to cheer you up for later, but I'll just tell you now. I pause for dramatic effect. Guess what's 2 cages to your left? He yawns. Seals! I yell. Tasty seals! Seal. I climb the railing and point frantically to the left. You can eat them! They're dumb and fat, just like in the stories! But Total says nothing, so I stop yelling. Fine then, I tell him. At least this'll make you happy. I pull out the 2 Rice Krispies treats from Dondi I've been saving and toss them into the enclosure. Total smells them immediately, and, suddenly alert, he raises on his hind legs to catch them, but doesn't, because someone quicker does. I guess Stacy does like something other than beach balls. Chapter 49. You may find yourself behind the wheel of a large automobile. That's the title of the chapter. I'm driving a Cadillac. Well, not by myself. I'm holding the wheel while the bowling turkey works the pedals. I wish you wouldn't let him do that, says my mother from the back seat. He's easily distracted. What's the big deal? He says. I'm sitting right here. What the heck is that thing? I yell. turning my body to point at the world's ugliest lawn sculpture. The car swerves sharply toward the curb. The bowling turkey grabs the wheel. "See?" yells my mom. "He almost ran over that old man." "What is the matter with you?" the bowling turkey shouts at me. But nothing is wrong with me. It is the sculpture that is an offense against nature. And yet, it is oddly familiar. The sculpture. Those inclined toward generous interpretation might say it's a goddess rising from the sea, or Adam touching the hand of God. I think it's a monkey throwing a chicken. Why someone would sculpt a monkey throwing a chicken is lost on me. Perhaps it promotes monkeys or belittles chickens. Either way, it almost killed a man. So the bowling turkey drives the rest of the block and pulls the car up to a small park on the hill. He gets out and carries a large cooler to a picnic table. The table is filled with his bowling buddies, their bulbous bodies straining the bending benches. I hate these Saturday bowling gatherings. I only have so much time out of my cell, and this is a waste of it. My mother hates them too, so she usually makes me play frisbee, which I do not enjoy. Poor Timmy. Chapter 50, Our Crumbling Educational System. The class is studying photosynthesis. They are hard at work. I am in the back row, trying to build the highest eraser tower ever. Timmy, could you please come up here for a minute? It is the much too perky voice of New Guy, and it carries with ease to my back row desk. The back row is where I've been sitting ever since New Guy announced we could sit wherever we wanted, the better to hide my eraser towers. I glare as I walk up the aisle past Rollo, who now sits in the front. We haven't spoken since he sabotaged my professional and personal life. "You got a minute?" asks the New Guy as I arrive at his large desk. "Very few, it seems. My mother has chained me to the books." "Well, it doesn't look like you're too hard at work at the moment," he says, pointing at my eraser tower. "I am demonstrating the effect of your photosynthesis on eraser towers," I tell him. "So looks are deceiving." "Listen," he says, lowering his voice. "I haven't announced this to the rest of the class, but there are parts of this photosynthesis stuff that are impossible to figure out." I am not surprised to hear this. He is an ignoramus. "And how is that my concern?" I reply. "I guess it's not," he says. "Then may I return to my photosynthesis experiments?" I ask. "In a minute," he says. "Let me just ask you something." He looks around to make sure no one is listening. "Your friend Rollo says people pay you to figure stuff out. Is that true?" "Rollo?" "Yes, your friend, Rollo." "Rollo." "You mean the round fellow in the front row?" I ask. "Yeah, I guess," he says, unsure of how to answer without insulting the round fellow in the front row. "Well, I'm not friends with the rotund boy, but yes, it is true I run a detective business that is on the verge of being a Fortune 500 company, though at present it is shut down at the request of my interfering mother." "I see. This institution is largely to blame," I remind him. "Well, do you think if I talked to her and got her okay, you could maybe do a little research for me?" "Fine," I tell him. Give me a list of the topics you need researched by the close of school today. But be aware that if my mother refuses to grant permission, it will have to be an all-cash transaction. I can't risk a paper trail. Don't worry, he says. I'll get her approval first. As I return to my seat, I stare at the sea of upturned faces whose education will suffer mightily at the hands of this charlatan. But that's their problem, because business is business, and it's every man for himself in this monkey throw chicken world. Come on. Chapter 51 we'll read tomorrow. It's called No Teacher Left Behind. See you tomorrow, guys.